That's right. Good evening, everybody. You heard it. You heard it right. Georgia on our mind. Georgia is on everybody's mind tonight. Welcome to Hot Topics. We're back. Do us a favor right now. Like this, share this. Let everybody know that it's about to be on like popcorn. Please like this and share this. It's been a minute. But we are back, and we are back stronger and better than ever. And guess what? The whole cast of characters are here tonight, and so we are excited. We are pumped, and we are ready to go. Let's go up first. Let's go up a little bit and introduce one of the ladies of the show. Miss is already done. We don't know what that means. Maybe we'll find out throughout the show. Miss Lady Austin, hello, how are you? Make sure you unmute yourself first.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I'm here.
And then we'll swing over to next to her. He's dressed for the occasion, official business attire tonight. This is B. Lion McCord. Say hello to everybody.
What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Glad to be back.
And last but not least, the Fireball. Representing Fireball with her hair. Miss Nikisha Williams. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everyone. Happy New Year.
Well, guys, just when we thought we were not going to have anything to talk about, today happens. And today has been a major day in the United States of America because history was made today. Georgia was flipped. Georgia turned blue. John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock has made history to be the first African American and Jewish American to become senators in the state of Georgia, officially giving Joe Biden the majority in the Senate. It's officially a tie, but we do know when there is a tie, the vice president breaks the tie. And so therefore, because there is a Democratic in office, we know that Democrats have the tiebreaker. And so Georgia did it. Georgia came through for us, and now, or I won't say for us, came through for Democrats, and now it is official. The Senate is now blue. What do you think about that, Corb? You see what happened in Georgia. What do you think?
Yeah, I think one is historic. I'm not surprised. I think the general election was very telling when it came to what Georgia, how Georgia was swinging. So I think you said that they helped us out. I think they did help us out, us being the country, as far as what's going to be needed to undo some things and to kind of set things in order. I think we would be remiss if we didn't give credit to the dear Miss Stacey Abrams, who, I mean, I'm just amazed that she deserves some kind of award, Nobel Peace Prize, and whatever else she wants, literally, because the work that she has done in Georgia, after losing the way she did. That's the thing about it. You know, she could have lost her election and just went under a rock and just whatever. But man, let me tell you, it was like she said, okay, if I can't get you this way, I will get you another way. And the work that she has done behind the scenes, there haven't been a lot of cameras following her or nothing like that, but she's been on the ground. And I think she didn't single-handedly do it, because I'm sure a whole team of people that helped do this. But man, she deserves so much credit for in this state, for really just getting this state to be what it is. This is unheard of. I was just amazed. I was just amazed, and I you know, she deserves whatever she wants.
So, Nikisha, so often, as African Americans, we've heard the statement, our votes don't matter. I think this has been a tremendous statement to say black votes matter. People don't vote because they don't count our votes. It doesn't matter. When you see from a presidential election how close the election was, and how Georgia came through for Joe Biden as well. And now we see in a more condensed election how certain counties in Georgia was able to make the difference. Does it change how we see our votes counting now? Because it's always been a narrative. My vote doesn't matter now. So do you think this has changed the mindset of African Americans when it comes to voting?
It has to. I mean, it has to. I think since the election, we've come out in droves. We've done it. I was going to actually mention the same thing as B in regards to Stacey Abrams, just doing the footwork and being behind the scenes and letting people know how important it is to vote. I think this historic election is definitely going to be the walkway for our future elections. So I do think it has to change something. Like, people will now get it, that if we want to move somebody, all we got to do is put it together, come out, do the research, and vote correctly. And guess what? You go blue.
Uh, Kimberly, I asked you the same question because many people in Florida, we saw how close Florida became to get a Democratic governor, which we haven't had that in a long time, and we see what happened in Georgia. When we talk about how many people we had to beg to go out and vote, do you think that what has happened in Georgia will intensify to let people know that every vote really does count and we can ill afford to stay at home in any election? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
I said, can you hear me now? I said,
Yes.
absolutely. And not only will it help people to understand and realize how important their votes are, it will stop people from just taking people's vote for granted as well. Because so many times people's votes have been taken for granted, and people realize, well, I only have to present myself as this way to this select group of people. So now people running for election will have to understand, I'm going to have to bring it and have some foundation or something to bring to the table now, because people are more knowledgeable about what to expect and what should be. So we won't be, hopefully it'll take away mediocrity from people just saying, hey, I'm gonna run for this. Because we do know people run for office and they know they underqualified, and it's a lot of underqualified candidates that are serving in the office right now in so many different capacities, from governor to senate to local. So hopefully this process will help people to understand that I have to raise my standards before I can, put myself out there.
Brandon, she mentioned something, and it's been said that politicians seem to bypass the black community a lot. They don't really go to them for specific demands. Do you think that African Americans have gained a lot of power, political power, as it relates to their wants and their desires now? Because we have seen in Georgia how the African American vote can change not just a state, but has changed the nation, at least for the next 4 to 6 years.
Yeah, in a sense, I think we have gained power in that regard, but I don't think that's a foreign concept for a lot of people that really know. A lot of these politicians have always known that the black community was important, the black vote was important. I'm not sure if we knew though. I'm not sure
Mm,
what
mm.
it was. So I
Wow.
think the power has always been there. We just have never tapped into it, and have never made known and have held these politicians to a standard. So since we weren't holding them to a standard, they just passed us by and did whatever they wanted to do. So I think it was more telling for us, really. It was an eye opener for us in our community, to really come together and put our not just our something, but our vote behind something. We can really make some positive change. So I think we have gained the power, but I think it was more so an eye opener more than anything else for our own people, more so than it was for the other side.
Well, Nikish, he said something interesting that they knew, but we didn't know. So therefore, because we didn't know, we don't have the ask. We don't make the demands. Do you hopefully and prayerfully, and maybe we can extend this conversation even broader? Now that we know the power that we have, I think it's wise for us to come together as a unified force to make demands, to make changes, because we always hear, what do we hear around election time? The black agenda.
Right.
But here's the question. Here's the question nobody really likes to answer. What is the black agenda? Because
Nico?
depending on who you ask, it becomes every other black person has their individual agendas. So this is an opportunity, I feel, that we need to have a clear understanding on what the black agenda is locally and universally. Because if we have this type of power and if we're going to tap into this power, it behooves us to know what we need to ask and what we need to demand. Because this is critical. We saw literally a state that has been red since the 90s, early 2000s, is blue, and it could be blue for a very long time. Now, I said a few months ago, Florida has helped that Georgia out tremendously because of the real estate market. A
Hmm.
lot of Floridians moved to Georgia because they could no longer stay in Florida or afford to stay in Florida, and so I think some of the peach goers there should throw a little check or something to the Sunshine State because a lot of us, by the hundreds and thousands, went to Georgia and Georgia did what they needed to do. But again, I asked the question: what is the black agenda? What is it? Who
Same thing for
knows?
2020. We don't know.
And
If I,
we've done because we've done it. We've done it. We've made history, not just in Georgia. We look at local politics, Broward County. Everything in power is black. We've made so many strides in individual counties and states, but I don't think we have answered that question. Go ahead, Brandon.
I think all of it earlier about politicians knowing the other side, knowing how powerful the black vote was. And it's been proven because if they didn't think our vote and our voice was powerful, they wouldn't have been trying so hard to suppress the vote for so many years. So, decreasing polling locations in certain areas and things like that. So they've known all along that this vote is important and the black vote is important. Now, as for what you're saying, we do need. Okay, we know we have power. We know our voice matters. But what is it that we want? That's always the question, right? What is it that we want as far as a black agenda? And I don't think we don't have a universal answer to that yet. And I think the division in the black community as far as what that agenda is why we really don't usually get anywhere. So I would hope that some of the people who are in power, the Stacey Abrams, these mayors and these politicians and that are a little bit higher up, I would hope that they have some level of influence and some level of knowledge as far as what is needed in the Black community, because I'm not sure many of us really know universally what that agenda is. I actually saw someone post today that they, now that Biden is going to be in and he's got the Senate and things like that, they're like, well, I hope everything that needs to get done for the Black community gets done. So I asked the question, I'm like, what is it that you want to see done? And the answer was kind of vague. It was like, well, a variety of things. So I just, what is it that we want? Like, I don't know. Like, do we know what we want? I
Until
always,
we fill in that blank, we can't. And that's the challenge. And
like,
that's where
you gotta know the destination before you start the road trip. Like, you got to know where you're trying to get.
And I think in a lot of cases, and we're starting to slightly see this in business. I've said for the past 6 months, I believe that this is the time for blacks and women. I believe blacks and women have a major seat at the table. And I think the most basic form of that question is equality.
Mm-hmm.
I think we start there. I think if we can't agree on anything else, we can complete that sentence with one word: equality. Because we know for years it hasn't been about level of achievement or level of ability. It's about equality.
Right. We don't want more.
And if we can start there, equal opportunity in all facets, in all corporations. We see it in coaching. We see it in, the lack of diversity is still pressing in America in every aspect of it. And I think we can start there from the basic form and move forward, because I think equality covers a lot of bases.
Mm-hmm.
It covers the law enforcement. We're going to talk about that in the lack of equality of treatment of people. So we see all that as well. But Kimberly, what do you, when you hear about, because you said this before as well, the Black agenda, what does that really mean?
I think we talk about the Black agenda because quite naturally we're African Americans or we're Black. But in just my opinion, I think when Stacey Abrams started off, it probably was a lot about the Black agenda. But I think Trump being in office and exposing so many things, the Black agenda got pushed more with being into so many other things. You had, that's why it was so easy for Caucasian people and women. It became so many other agendas. So I think that's what make what you said it starting with unity, because it's just the country just been so divided, and you have to get back to a uniform point to be able to see, okay, what are our main targets. Once we get on equal playing field, then we can see each other for who we are, and then we can be able to disperse what we really want. Not disperse might be the wrong word, but kind of branch out to what our agendas and what we really want, because we will feel like we're on equal playing field. Because as long as we're on not on equal playing field, women are African Americans, that's what's going to make it seem like we don't know what our agendas are, because our agenda, they're never going to line up with what they see us or what they think, because we're not on equal playing field. So equal playing field is just a start, like you said, to get into what we really want.
Wow. And guys, we have a guest that's going to join us today. She's from Florida, but she's in Georgia now, and I want her to be on to give us a little perspective as to what's going on. Her name is Miss Tanisha Simpkins. We used to do a show together on Mondays until she decided to be a part of this Georgia wave, and so now she is now in Georgia, and I want to get her perspective on some things, because she's been in Georgia. She's been kind of seeing what's been going on. So, Tanisha, give us some background information. How did Georgia pull this off? Help us to understand that.
To be honest with you, and hi guys, thank you guys for who's out there. But I got my popcorn tonight. Um, yeah, for real, it's that type of show. Um, the help of other states, to be honest with you, Florida canvassed for Georgia a lot. There were a lot of different groups that I know took part in being part of the canvass for Georgia. I was a part of one of that's from Florida for Georgia to make Georgia people get out and vote, for us to post it, for us to contact people. The same thing during the political race, to get people to come out and just vote. Actually, to try to do it during the early voting. And we all know Stacey Abrams, she did a wonderful job with doing that. But it's a whole lot of other people, a lot of people who are behind the scene. They had a lot of different campaigns, paid campaigns, meaning like PR campaigns that they put together as well. So a lot of things can be media blast and a lot of recognition. I'm gonna tell you something. Riding down 75 of the highway, every poster is a Reverend Warnock poster that is there. So I think that face recognition, name recognition, just him being on television exposure a lot than normal candidates have been. He has been every 10 minutes you would see his ad of him. I don't know where the money come from, but an ad of him with him on television, just being there, his presence alone, I think meant a lot. Not just because he's a reverend, but just all around great guy, and of course we needed someone better.
Now, here's the question, and we see a lot of people comment about the last question, but the question is for Floridians, who is our Stacey Abrams? You know, do we have someone like that in Florida that's going to help us? Because now our biggest level is DeSantis, right? Do we have a Stacey Abrams to help flip some things in Florida? I'm just asking.
No, we don't. I mean, we're just going to keep it real and be honest with you. We have a lot of different groups, but we don't have that one particular pioneer person, whether it's a man or woman. We have groups, but we don't have that one particular person that stands on their own. If anybody have a name out there, shout it out, put it in the comments. Let us know. But I haven't recognized one from the top to the bottom. I think they're trying now to put themselves out there. But I'm just gonna keep it real. Florida, we're tough when we're trying to put one person out because the other person is like, you can't do this. Is me and you both gonna have to be out there. That's just how we flow. But we don't have that one person, man or woman.
Well, I don't think Georgia knew they had Stacey Abrams until she came out and started being who she was, Stacey Abrams. Because even like for us, we thought it was the mayor from Tallahassee. A lot of people ain't even know it was him until he got so far off into the to the things. I just think we don't know, but that
But
doesn't mean that
Stacey
that person.
Abrams had a brand in Georgia before people. I mean, that's why she almost won because
True.
she had a major brand before she even ran for governor.
Right, but I'm
Andrew
saying
Gillum.
she had a major brand, but a lot of like if you knew and you were in that arena, you knew her brand. A lot of Georgia people didn't know her brand till she got to that level. Like even Andrew Gillum probably had a brand on base. All of them come with a brand on base, but it's just certain demographics that don't know till they get to that level. That was part of the reason why she probably didn't get the governor seat the first go round. But now that she kept at it after she got exposure, like Gillum, if he wasn't in his situation, he could have been that person for Florida, just getting his hat in there, and then he would have had room to come from there. So I just think if we just get somebody that comes out and get the exposure, then we can kind of go from there. I don't know what y'all exactly mean about our person. I mean, I think for Florida, for I would say Frederica Wilson. A lot of people might think she's our person, but
She's
past a
good.
certain demographic or state or part of Florida, people might not know her like that. So it just depends on how far things expand and how people acknowledge and know what they want
But you
in
know
terms
what,
of a leader
Kim?
or a person.
I'll give you kudos to that because she is good and she has been great when we were doing our election. She was always on the radio. She was always asking questions. She was always making sure that we did have a lot of things in place. So I will give her that person. But the thing about Abram, because she came from the progressive part of it, and because she grew her own brand, the difference between her and Gilliam brand was grew through political parties such as the Clintons and so forth, and we all know that. So it was a little bit different for her. She kind of like had to, you know how you have that rock mountain thing, and you got to climb up it. That's kind of like how she did, and I feel like, and even though we're not finished, you know, this is a really great victory for her and her campaigning, not only for the election but also for you know, this what's today on yesterday. But that's the difference that I see.
And so, guys, I wanna drop another bombshell. I want you guys to hear this. We many of us have heard about this. I don't think many of us have had a kind of heard because there was a man that was really working very, very hard to not even get us to yesterday. He's still working very hard to overturn the election process in Georgia. So much so that this gentleman decided that he was going to make a phone call to, the supervisor of elections and the governor to really get them to overturn or flip. And this conversation is going to sound a lot like the coronavirus conversation that was, secretly leaked a few months ago. So I want you guys to hear this and tell me what you think.
We have won this election in Georgia based on all of this, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. You know, I mean, having a correct. The people of Georgia are angry, and these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. That you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
This is Ryan, Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County.
Well, but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
I'm sure.
You should want to have an accurate election, and you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, I know you don't. No, you don't. You don't have. Not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes. You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard, and they are removing machinery. And they're moving it as fast as they can, both of which are criminal fines, and you can't let it happen, and you are letting it happen. I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this. And it's going to be very costly.
So Brandon, I'm a political junkie. So I'm going to throw this out there. This sounds a lot like Watergate and Richard Nixon, but I want to make sure I was hearing this right? So on a phone call where the president is saying that the process was rigged, a few words later he says, all I want you to do is find me 11,780 votes and we'll be straight. I mean, we'll all is fair. This happened in 2020. This happened. Knowing that it was being recorded on a phone, you had the audacity to call up and give your data, and you're going to tell them your opinion. You're going to give them the facts because they don't know the facts, you know. So you're going to give them the facts, and you're going to tell them this is what happened, and this is what I want you to do about it. Go ahead, man. You could go with it.
I mean, the funny part is the number. Like, it was a very exact number, right? like I would have made it easier around to 12,000. You know, just round it up. He had a very exact number. Like, look, this is how many I need you to find. You know, nothing less than this, nothing more than this. Just find this amount.
One more than what I need. That's what he said.
We don't want to make it look too crazy, you know. We don't want to, yeah. But the thing that's mind blowing is that he really believes this. He really believes that he won. He really believes it, and I just don't know what to make of that. That, you know, like, oh, in my opinion, they're doing this. Well, you got no evidence behind that, and you're telling the people. You are in Washington or wherever you hang out at. You're telling the people who are literally working the election in this state that they don't know what's going on, although they're
Republicans.
There. Right, but you do. You do. You're not there, but you know better than them what's going on. And, you know, I just don't know what else we need to see from this guy, what else we need to hear from him for us, you know, for some people to finally get it, what his true colors are. But I think it's disturbing, really, that one, he can't take this loss, and two, that he thinks that he won, but he thinks he won by a landslide. Like, he's convinced that he won by a landslide when it's really the other way around. And I just don't understand it. But, you know, this isn't about accuracy for him. Okay, this isn't about having an accurate election. All right, and I think most of us know that. This is just about getting whatever he needs to get favorable results. Okay, he doesn't want an accurate election. He wants to win, and he cannot take being, you know, can't take the fact that
Brandon.
So, Lakeisha, it's interesting.
Hold up 1 second, Rev. He doesn't. He know he didn't win. He want you to believe that he won. That's just the manipulation of him. If I can get other people to believe it, then they can spread it, and then it can be true. He know he didn't win.
But Nikisha, here's the thing, and it's amazing, and it's just amazing how God works, because we literally saw the election last night play out the same way, right? Mm-hmm. We saw it came out, Warnock and Ossoff had a tremendous lead, right? And then a few hours later, Perdue and Loeffler were leading, right? And they were saying, well, based upon the counties that have come in, they're now leading. They were leading by 12,000 votes. And then we saw it swing again. And then we saw it swing again. And then finally, when the final counties came in, we saw it swing again. So we literally saw how this thing played out in real time. Now, I put on my Facebook page when they gave out the first numbers, according to Trump's philosophy, they might as well declare victory now, because 20% of the votes are in. We're winning. Let's declare victory right now. That's literally and Trump's mindset. His winning was based upon not even half of the votes being tallied. And that's the part that I don't get. I don't understand that he keeps making a claim based upon his prediction when the race wasn't even halfway finished.
I think the part that got me about the whole conversation is before he even got to the numbers, and the man said, "No, I'm not aware of that." He was like, "Oh yeah, and I'm putting you on notice." That was a threat. He threatened him. I'm putting you on notice. You know it. That was his way of saying, you going down, I'm going to do this. And then when the guy wasn't intimidated by that, then he came up with a number. He doesn't know if that number is 1 off or 1 million off, because he never know numbers. That guy just spits out numbers and say stuff like whatever. His thing is, He just used bullying tactics to get the things he want. And normally, you a Republican, and that's this base. That's the people that been to
Right.
him. So the fact that I'm warning you and you a Republican, that was supposed to be enough. But since that's not enough, I need 13 votes or whatever. He just was going. He would have said 50. That's just the number that came to his head to be realistic, which was mind-boggling to me because those votes would not have still won him. That would have won him that state. So what? He wouldn't have won no other state or nothing else. So it really didn't mean
He still
anything.
would have
And
lost.
and this is what I go back to saying that he is really educating America. And I said this earlier when we talked about what does it mean for black people, that it is we have to hopefully him being our president educated us and us turning out to vote in spite of his rhetoric, in spite of his voter suppression and stuff, lets people know that we are not gonna accept ignorance or mediocrity or nothing else, that we're better than that. We're more educated black people, so to say. Back in the day, our ancestors and our peoples voted just because we won the right. They didn't understand, a lot of them, what they were really voting for. It meant a lot. I'm not taking anything for them, but now we need to understand that because of what it meant to them and the stakes are higher, that we have to keep that going, and we can't just tolerate an uneducated president anymore. It's just things that we just can't tolerate from people that want our vote, whether it be a senate or whether it be a governor, or whether it be a mayor or whatever it is. We have to just, this has taught us that we have to accept that they have to present us with some standards or something in order to get our vote.
Absolutely.
So what we're seeing now is the closer Trump is to getting out of office, we're seeing that many more people are starting to cut bait with the brother. Everybody who has a political dog in the fight still, we're starting. I'm calling it the Great Divide. And we saw it today play out with the vice president and Mitch McConnell. You know, President Trump came on TV today and said, well, this is kind of the last hope for us to get this election overturned. And so Mike Pence is going to come in and he's going to stop. He's going to stop this nonsense. And Mike Pence came out with his own statement and say, I'm sorry, I told you in private, so now you're going to make me tell you in public. Man, I'm just to watch and observe. And Mitch himself, Mitch McConnell, the Mitch. Someone called him another thing. They replaced the M with another letter. And he also came out. And he came out and said, basically, this is over. This is done. We need to move on. And so they have literally phased the brother out. They put on their blue ties and they're ready to go home. What is going on, Nikisha? These people are running from him. These were his greatest supporters. Even my wife was watching Fox News today, and she's starting to see some of them are backtracking. They are running from this brother like the plague because they realize if we want our political careers to be savage, we got to distance ourselves from this crazy man.
Absolutely.
It's just,
they realize that you got to separate. The man is crazy. He's delusional. I mean, everything that's going on is just antics. I still don't understand how he won by a landslide, but it's all delusion. So now, like you said, now the people realize in order for me to keep my job, because Biden, is the president now. So at any point you can be missing out that White House. So if you want to keep your job, I got to separate from D, and that's what they doing.
I just never thought I would see the day. I never thought I would see the day where,
for the last 4 years, you wouldn't think they would ever go against anything.
Absolutely.
I think they're a little bit too late. I think they're a
I
little bit
could say I could care less. They going with him anyway. So
you've shown me either your true colors or shown me that you can be bought, basically. So I still don't
trust you don't got a voice to stand on.
But what y'all have to realize, we not the people they appealing to. The people they appealing to needed to see this action happen. Like Mitch could never do nothing for me, okay? He's like the clear-eyed, dry-eyed man. He could do nothing for me. So it didn't matter. And Pence, I told y'all about him 3 hot topics ago. So it's irrelevant with what they do and what
Oh
they say
God.
at this point. They can all kick rocks together. As far as
You know
I'm
what?
concerned, Pence can quit tomorrow. He should pack up tonight. Why wait to the 20th? After the way Trump did him today, he need to be packing his stuff tonight. Like Bernie
Absolutely.
Mac say
I
tonight.
agree with Kim.
That man
I
will do
agree
his
with you,
last check.
Kim.
That man will do his last check.
I said that let them have their own fight. Let them fight it out. We need
Yeah.
to step back. We
Yeah,
have no
let
parts of it. Let them do their thing. They fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? They have their own little family dysfunctional quarrel that's going on. Let them have at it.
And
Y'all
we-
leave
Because
it
as
alone.
far as I'm concerned,
Start the
it's a
heat up,
distraction.
guys.
No, but I'm saying, as far as I'm concerned, it's a distraction to what today was a
What's
distraction
taking
to what
place?
we doing
Yeah,
on the 20th. And he's plotting a distraction on Inauguration Day.
Absolutely.
They're
absolutely.
all just plotting a bunch of distraction, and they're all a
Yeah,
part of the distraction. And at this point,
agreed.
we show that we're up for solving problems and solution. So if you're not gonna be a part of the solution, I don't think you deserve the media time. I hate that they gave Trump media time today when he did his speech and stuff. They are giving him too much. They need to start showing him how he's supposed to fade away and disappear, whether he wants to or not. They need to start displaying what the disappearing act might look like and start pulling back on him. I just read they took his Twitter account away for 12 hours. Why 12 hours? How about the next 12 days? That's what the country's going to benefit from. We, as the people, need to start fading these people away and sending them on the horse that they rode in on and kicking them out. And that's why we shouldn't even care. We're giving them too much time, and they're taking away. History was made today, but how much of history being made that we've
Do we
allowed
know
to
about it?
talk about outside of this show? You know, other people. We black people, not only people happy about the history being made, other people are too. But this whole thing is just overlook all of that. It's just been a cloud over it.
And I
And,
think also
Thank
when
you.
you look at these guys who are kind of separated from him now, it starts to show you the divide between the Republican Party and the Trumpers, because there is a clear divide, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
And it's starting to get more clear, especially today. And it raises the question, are all these people wrong about Trump? Like, everybody is disconnecting, everybody is saying all this stuff about him, even people that are in the same party. Is everybody wrong about him? I don't think so. But it's and we see how he's already turned on Pence because he didn't do what he wanted to do. So it's never been about the Republican Party. We know that. But
That's a great point.
Started to create
so
this divide where the Trump thing is his own party, man. It's his own
Yeah,
following. So because
Democrats, Republicans, Trumpsters. I think that's going to
right,
be the new party.
people
Well,
like
I
Mitt
believe
Romney,
just like
there was a video showing today of Mitt Romney in the airport, and some Trumpers came up to him, asking him why he wasn't supporting Trump and attacking him, and he was giving the answer like, "Listen, I don't need to be loyal to Trump. I need to be loyal to the Constitution and to what I took an oath to do." So it's creating a clear divide that's showing like, no, this wasn't about Republican. You weren't a Republican. You were supporting this man.
I ain't buying it, Brandon. I ain't buying it. Just like Trump flip-flop, some of them flip-flopping back to be a Republican. They still got some Trump in them. His dog, in his dog days, they gonna be right there feeding him the
I
tea.
don't
And
think.
he
I
gonna
don't think.
still try to be relevant. I
I mean,
believe that.
There is one guy. There is
I
one
won't
guy.
generalize it because there's been some Republicans all along that haven't supported him. So
Right.
I
Right.
won't
Mitt Romney really has not supported Trump.
Right.
And he has not supported Trump
Wait, what Brandon was
shenanigans.
saying? What you say, Brandon?
No, I'm saying I won't generalize the party. Now, obviously, there's some that are pulling back because they simply want to protect themselves and their brand.
correct.
But I think what I mean is it's creating more of a clear divide, not necessarily amongst the politicians, but amongst the people that are supporting Trump, who are so-called Republican. It's showing that they weren't really about being Republican. They're more so about being
Absolutely.
a
Trump. I
No,
Well,
agree.
they
there is
creating
one.
a gray cloud. I ain't gonna say clear just yet. But go ahead.
Well, there is one guy that I think kick-started today's events who is obviously, no matter how ugly his wife is, according to President Trump, has decided that he will be loyal to the president. And I think he kick-started today's events, and that's Brother Ted Cruz. His objection to the Arizona election kick-started, and let's follow the events, because we were watching the confirmation of the certification of the election from every state, and every time somebody objects, the parties get to clear the room, and we go and basically talk about it. So let's just follow the little tea leaves, right? And this is what I think is Trump's contingency. We're going to get to the hot subject tonight. Trump says that Pence is going to basically put an end to this, and he's going to basically decertify this process. Pence, in his opening statement, does not. And so I think that Trump had a contingency plan by the name of Mr. Ted Cruz. We go through the states, we get to Arizona, and hey, Cruz raises his hands and he makes his objection to the Arizona election. Okay, let's clear room. What happens when the room gets cleared? Miraculously, people were able to enter into the Capitol. You mean to tell me that a Capitol that is full of the 110 of the most important people in this nation's history, including the vice president, were able to enter the Capitol while fully occupied in the middle of a certification hearing? And you mean to tell me this was not plotted and planned out? What? So, I'm like the old saying, what was the watch them dogs? Who the hell let the gate open?
But not only that, they ain't even have to call 911. That's the even crazier thing. They didn't have to call 911 and get the Metro Dade, the city of Miami, and no police there. They got the Capitol Police. That was the even crazier thing. That's their own police that's supposedly been there, and they were not prepared and ready for an event like today. After you had million people, not a million, I ain't gonna give Trump that much credit, a couple of hundred people already there on the premises, okay, that's not typically there, and you gonna allow all of this to happen. You were not prepared for this. But when Black Lives Matter was there, y'all was
come on, say it,
ready with your little pellets and whatever else you had, your mace,
bullets, all of that.
All that. Go ahead, Tanisha. Look at the little monkey.
It was clean.
You're muted. You're talking good, but you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold up. You know that he can have or hire whoever he wants on that day or staff for that day. And we know that from previous, when he was riding around outside the hospital and all the other foolishness. So I believe he knew he had his own staff that he wanted for that day. Like you said, Rev, Pastor Nathan Austin, they left the back door open. The door is open for you to roam and do whatever. Make sure that we get good camera on this guy so we can show the world. It's so silly. It's so silly because we're older, but we got young people watching this foolishness.
So Brandon, you're in this field, right? I'm just gonna say that you're in this field, and you protected people before, you protected property before. We're talking about the Capitol. You mean to tell me it's that easy to get in the Capitol unobtruted? Nobody stopped them. Is it that easy, man? Because maybe we could have been got up in there a long time ago. Is it that easy?
Not us.
I don't listen. This was a security breach if I've ever seen one. All right. This is like, what's the movie? The White House Gone or something like that? Remember that movie?
White House Gone.
Or Olympus Has Fallen or something.
Yeah, Olympus Has Fallen. Yeah.
I don't understand I don't understand how the Capitol building of the United States of America could have been overtaken like that. I from a security
Well, we
standpoint,
watching a movie. It's like we were watching them. This could be a movie.
from
It
a
will be.
security standpoint,
And my thing is,
from a security
not,
standpoint, that should not be able to happen. That there
and
under
not
no
only
circumstance. What you say?
not only was it overtaken, nothing was said about it being overtaken. Like no statement has been made, no nothing. Like the head person not in disbelief. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
everybody is
You
in
tell them to go
disbelief when
home.
something
Go
out of the
home.
No, but us.
and when something out of the unorthodox happen, everybody's in disbelief, whether it be a shooter here, whatever. None of them had nothing to say about it. It was one senator defending him and how everything went about it. Some of them are still defending that Trump had nothing to do with it. So I'm like, this is just crazy to me. He's yet to say anything about it. But when the people was out there for Black Lives Matter, he ordered more people to be out there, more this to come out there. And those people was literally minding their business. It was the police that started the riot. They're trying to say that they had everything planned, they had everything in place, but it's the visitors or whatever they want to call them, the Antifas or the whoever that's come in to make them look bad. Because that's what they say the Black Lives Matter people say. So I guess they're using that logic as well.
Yeah,
So Brandon, go back to the security. I mean, again, how could this happen if they didn't want it to happen? That's what I want to ask.
I mean, unless you are grossly understaffed, undermanned, something like this shouldn't happen at a building that important with people that important inside of it. So I'm not gonna necessarily play conspiracy theorists and say that there was an inside job. I don't know. It could have been, but I got to tell you that something of this magnitude should not happen at the Capitol building. Like it just should not happen at the Capitol building. And it raises the question: would the response have been different had it been a different group of people? And I think, for the most part, I think we all agree that it would have been, and the response from the president would have been different. I mean, if you heard his statement about it, it was like, I love you guys, but you need to go home, and I understand your pain. Like it wasn't. It was very.
And he called them patriots.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
And the thing about it,
as far as I just don't understand how you could have a security breach of that magnitude, and the people that work there should be concerned. Okay, the people that work there, you would think that I'm a politician. I'm at the U.S. Capitol. I should be protected here, right? I should be able to come here and work and be amongst this should be probably the second or third most protected place in the country, right? And people able to walk in and just whatever. I mean, that is. And
I'm not making light of it, but even when they went into the World Trade, they ain't come through the front door. They had to get creative with how they came in. They came right in the front door. They didn't even get creative. So you could say you ain't saying no conspiracy. I'm saying conspiracy theory. That crowd was playing. They walked right up the steps and pushed their way through that front door. When they was standing outside that place doing Black Lives Matter, they wouldn't let them on that lawn. They put up.
Where were these people? This what it looked like. During the Black Lives Matter protest. That's what it looked like. What were the soldiers? What were all these people when he called for this protest to be at the Capitol? I'm trying to figure out where were they?
They're a little late. They got there about 15 minutes ago, based on what I'm watching.
These people.
Thanks to Mike Pence. Here they are. Mike Pence called for them against Trump's advice. He called for them.
Right. But these people flew into DC. Trump called for these people. And based off his history and him calling for these people to come to his rally, which I don't even understand why he was allowed to have a rally on an important date like this. That should let you know he had an agenda. What president plans something like why are we still even rallying? That's the first thing. But a president who leaving the country, who's been missing all these days, playing a rally for a certification day, and they saying that they didn't know that this was gonna happen. Ray Charles saw this coming, and Stevie didn't even have to wonder what was gonna
But
happen.
even
Everybody knew.
from a security standpoint, even if you didn't know this rally was happening, even say the rally was not happening, from a security standpoint,
Job to protect.
even if it never happened, if you knew it, didn't know it was happening, whatever. Even from a security standpoint, there should have been beefed up security at that building, knowing that the count was taking place.
Having a rally, right?
Right.
Agreed.
Right.
That should have just been customary. Like, we know that there's been some heat about this count, so from a security standpoint, you would say, okay, we need to beef up security a little bit just in case. So that should have been.
But I think beef up, not give everybody the day off. It seemed like everybody had the day off. And here's my question: do they lock offices? I mean, maybe they don't lock offices in the Capitol because Brother Man was able to go in Nancy's office and chill out, take selfies, and write all type of messages. We will not be, we will not back down. Like, what? They don't lock the door, so they don't lock the doors no more. What?
She probably feel like she have to. Nobody was supposed to be on that floor.
But
she was amongst her own colleagues, But my thing is, even if they didn't plan it and have the right security, in his speech, the tone of his speech should have said, let's start calling for backup. This man used words like, let's go there and let's fight. That was the language in his speech. You guys should march over there and fight. That was the language that was in his speech. So that didn't insinuate to nobody that this might take a turn. That was the crazy part about it. That they still didn't beef it up, even after hearing what his speech was. His speech united the whole thing. His whole language
did the same thing. Even when he tried to say go home, it still was. It wasn't like urgent. It wasn't, you guys put us at, in a bad situation.
It was like when your parents make you do your speech at church and you don't really want to.
Right. Just go.
That's what that was. Okay.
Right.
Now listen, go home, guys. I understand. I get it, but they told me to tell y'all to go home.
That's exactly what it is, B. They told me to tell y'all, but this is not what I want y'all to do. That's crazy.
He did everything with wink. He did everything.
Oh my God.
Right. It's a completely.
He should just wink this eye, man. He should. Right. He probably had fingers crossed. He probably had his fingers crossed while he was saying it the whole time. Like, I mean.
It's just a total embarrassment. Like, I know we're the laughing stock of the whole entire country. How does the Capitol get invaded by?
But we said we could stop a terrorist attack. We can't even stop our own people from. I mean, and he's supposed to be the defense. He's supposed to have built this great defense, and you can't stop. Quote unquote people from getting into the Capitol building. These pictures are going on all across the world. You think Afghanistan and people ain't plotting like, man, they vulnerable, man.
Exactly. This is worrisome because if we can't stop some Trump supporters,
regular civilians,
what about some terrorists or something that want to come from another country and do something? Is our security that weak? That you can.
But I think if those Trump supporters were a little shader darker,
we wouldn't have made it on the
ground. If the melanin of their skin had been a different tone, if they had been kissed by the sun just a few hours longer, then I think all of a sudden, miraculously, we would have found the best security in the world, and guys with guns watching someone break into the Capitol. Nobody shot. They're aiming at the guy breaking in, and miraculously, restraint like we've never seen in the history of mankind was on full display. Again, Brandon, I asked, the level of restraint we've seen. No bullets were fired. We haven't even heard of. Think about. We talk about this. We haven't even heard of an arrest
Exactly.
of anybody yet.
There was the last
Not
time was
one
about
arrest.
20, 30 arrests that have been made.
Well, that's
I
been. Well, I've been on Hot Topics, so I'm not
don't know
watching.
what
I
that
know up
number is.
until the time I got on
I
Hot
don't know what
Topics,
the number is.
nobody
I don't
was
know what.
talking about.
Yeah, there was some arrest made. I don't know what the circumstances behind the arrest was.
That was the people
But
that was
Probably just to
jaywalking
make
to
us
the
feel
to
good.
the Capitol building. That was the ones that
Just
was
to make us
jaywalking.
feel good. That's ridiculous.
But and they was not to mention they was looting. The man was y'all saw the one where the man picked up the podium and was why they had looters, they had rioters, they had some everything, they had a little everything there. But I guess there's still good people on both sides. So what could we say?
Exactly. So how is it that these are patriots, but people that black lives that matters, the
But
hoodlums,
but
thugs, and
Brandon,
everything under the sun?
look at the pictures. Can we notice the flags that are being God
yeah,
bless America, or is
right,
it God bless the Confederacy?
Mm.
Because I
right.
don't see no two things that struck me. One, I asked myself, what are color folks?
Ain't
I
none.
ain't seen none of them.
It was a few that it was the one that stood behind him before he was there with like about 5 people and they had a they was harassing a newscaster. I did see
Oh, that
that.
was him and his family.
Right.
Okay, that was him and
But
his family. And I
and while
seen
we
very little
talking,
American flags there.
but listen to this, because I meant to say this earlier. When we were talking about we couldn't protect the Capitol and Trump invited them there, why was he speaking behind a plexiglass? What was he scared of? When he gave
Hmm.
his good speech, he was in a plexi cage, and these supposed to be your people. They got your name on them. You know,
He
like
didn't want to
like
catch COVID.
COVID.
like Ike said, what's love got to do? That got my daddy name on it. Had the name on your name on their flags and stuff, but you standing behind a plexiglass talking to your supporters and your people. But they weren't ready for these people down at the cause he's a coward, man. While they was in that bunker, he was somewhere in his bunker too. He wasn't too
This
far
is
from
not
those
about.
people.
Listen, it's never been. It's becoming more and more clear. It's never been about the country and protecting. That's never
Absolutely.
what this has been about. And that showed today. We see Trump flag. We see Confederate flag. This is about the United States Trump. That's what this is about. Okay, it is a cult. It is idolization, and that's what I've been saying that all along. And it just we get more and more examples of it. Okay, if you are all about the country, then why are you breaking into the country's capital? Like if you're talking about you're about the country, if you're about the country, why can't you understand that people have voted and this is how we select our president and you just gotta be okay with the results if you're about the country. So it's becoming more and more clear that this is not about the country. This is not
But
about
those people never said they were about the country. They
I'm
tell
just
you
saying
in
as a
their
whole.
flags what they about. Now the Senate
I'm saying
people,
as a what I'm saying is when it's the other side, okay, when it's the Black Lives Matter, they're like, oh, we got to stand up for our country, we got to get our country back, all this stuff. Generally speaking, so they say it's about America and America first and make America great. But now that the table is turned, we're saying that it's not about the country because the same people that were saying it's about putting our country first are at war with the country. The same
Right.
people.
no,
Right.
And it's
but the
never been
problem
about.
is, Brandon,
The
it's
process
only about
and
but it's only about the country with the blacks. That's what y'all not getting. That's
That's what
why black lives don't matter. When it comes to them,
That's
they
what I'm
don't care
saying. That's
about
what I'm
the
saying.
country.
That it's never been really about the country. It's been about their personal beliefs. They
right.
hide behind that, but it's never
Well,
been about
it's
that.
about blacks and racism. Let's call
Because
it what
it's
it is.
see
Racism.
in their mind they are the country. It's their country.
Right.
We're just we're just strangers. We're just allowed to be the servants of the country. It's their country, and so that I think that is becoming more blatantly obvious now that this is our land, this is our country, and we're going to take it back by force if we have to. But unfortunately, the republic has spoken, and as and let the church say amen. We've spoken, and that is where we go back to our original conversation. I pray that all of the events of the past year has taught us we should never sit out another election. because we've shown what we're able to accomplish. We're shown the level of frustration that we're seeing right now is because we are finally exercising our power. And they can't stand it. They cannot stand it. And, we're not going to mention about, before this, Nancy Pelosi house was vandalized, and we talked about a few weeks ago the Michigan governor. So this is nothing new. These events have been coming out and playing out. And you cannot make me believe that this attack was not pre-orchestrated, pre-planned, pre-plotted. Let's give everybody who's not for the day off. God bless you.
This is stuff we read about in our history.
Right.
Stuff like this is what we.
I didn't hear you.
What I'm say is that the only other time that the Capitol has been attacked or under siege was in like the 1800s.
Right.
1856, the British. That was the only other time. And they burnt it down because it wasn't protected.
So the Trumpers are aligned with history only one other time.
Right.
Them and the British are the only ones to attack the Capitol. It should be proud.
And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing where I pray that, again, this is all to stop the certification process. They need to be on some Zoom meeting right now to carry out and finish this process. Because that's what it was all about. Delay. And I pray that the other idiots who were trying to pull a Ted Cruz, because I think it was Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, were going to be the states. So I pray the other 4 idiots or the other 3 idiots that were planning to protest this just swallow their whistle and let's just get this over with, because this is absolutely insane and crazy. And we all know if Trump does run again, we know that Pence ain't gonna be his running mate, so it's probably gonna be the man with the ugly wife, Ted Cruz. It's probably gonna be him. So maybe they'll work out. Maybe they'll work out their differences, or maybe Ted Cruz's wife will be pretty by then. I don't know.
He don't trust Ted Cruz enough to whatever. Ted just stupid. He don't trust him enough, child. It's gonna be his son. They already look like they about to start.
They starting it back now.
Like
I wouldn't go back in that COVID infested doggone place.
They moved to a different area. But
well, let's just hope and pray that it plays out the way it needs to play out, because again, we literally just sat back and watched a movie.
Yep. And the thing about it is, they saw what happened today. And prior to today, Trump has already said on Inauguration Day, he's not showing up. He's gonna gather his supporters somewhere in another area and hold a rally. If he told y'all that already, and y'all dumb enough to let that rally overtake the inauguration, that's going to say a lot about this country. He has already said that's what he plans on doing. So, and I know I had this discussion with you. You was like, he'll be there. He want to look whatever. I hope after the day, you believe me, he ain't coming to that inauguration. I don't care if it's Zoom, the school, the whatever. He ain't coming. And that man is not interested. And I think we had that debate before. He gonna plan something. If he plans something today, he sure enough gonna plan something that day. But I just hope America don't give him enough attention, like no coverage, no nothing, and let him take that day in history from us again, like he did today.
He gonna take it. He gonna take all the attention, and I don't think he's gonna show up either. I don't.
Yeah, I would be shocked if he showed. You know what's interesting? They're back working, and I'm watching as it happens. Pence just finished speaking, and McConnell is speaking now. But I like to go back and forth between CNN and Fox. I like to see the differences and everything.
The difference, absolutely.
But CNN is showing them back working and showing Pence and showing Mitt, but Fox just got Tucker Carlson talking. They haven't shown them. They haven't shown any of it. They saw an old video from earlier today. Tucker is talking. They're not talking about anything that was going on there, and I'm just really confused by that. But anyway,
not my friends at Fox News. They letting us down. All right, I got to go. Well, we're gonna give y'all a chance. we're gonna give y'all a chance to go and watch it. But for our last topic, we're gonna talk about. We have some other things. We'll talk about it next week. But I do want to bring this up because I thought this was interesting, and we're all kind of like sports fans on this show. And I saw something, and I thought it was very, very interesting. So I wanted to point it out. And the NFL this past Monday is, they call it Death Monday. It's where all the coaches get fired, and I was reading through the articles of the coaches who got fired, and something just stuck out at me. Breaking news: Jackson Jaguars fired Doug Marrone. Head coach Doug Marrone have parted ways. New York Jets have parted ways with the head coach Adam Gase. The Los Angeles Chargers have fired Anthony Lynn. Now, ESPN, Sports Center, 3 coaches, 3 headlines, 2 of them, the teams parted ways. They happen to be white. The black coach who got fired, he got fired. So we go back to our original statement that we started the show with equality. And this is what inequality looks like. It's subtle, but it's blatant. Parted ways. And watch this. Oh, I just thought of this. Remember earlier, a couple of days ago, somebody put out something that the offensive coordinator, the black man, had fired the offensive coordinator, and there was a statement that came out. No, he didn't get fired, and today it came out he resigned. Black man can't fire nobody, but a team can fire a coach who's black, but the other 2 teams, they can just part ways with theirs. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. Maybe. But again, I say, when we talk about equality, when we talk about the great divide in this country, and the treatment of African Americans, whether in position or not in position, I think we start to see it, especially in American sports. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I think that was something that stuck out to me as well when I saw those 3 headlines. I don't know if I posted about it or not, but I do remember having some thoughts about it. And language matters. Like, the words you use matter. Okay.
Unless you're Trump.
And when it would have been different if it was from different sources, right?
Right.
Different channel, different sports news, different. No, but this is from the same ESPN, the same Sports Center account, like the same account,
right.
The same account,
right?
Okay, and the language is just so blatantly different. My question was, what is the difference between fired and parted ways? Like, is it how the conversation went? What is the difference? Because you were gonna fire them. Everybody knew Adam Gase was getting fired. Like, everyone knew.
Well, right? In the layman's world,
what is the difference between parted ways and fire, and why is it that the language was so much different? And even with the Dolphins offensive coordinator thing, which I saw that coming a mile away. Anybody that follows me knows how much I was posting about that, because I just knew that he had to go. As a Dolphin fan, I knew that there was no way that he could stay. But did he resign? Really? Like, what is the difference? What is the difference, and why is it that the black man got fired and everyone else just parted ways? So language matters, and a lot of this stuff is something. The fact of the matter is they all got fired. Okay, so I can help sportsmen out. They all got fired. My other question is, as a sports fan and someone who follows football closely, is I don't understand why Anthony Lynn got fired. I was confused by that, because he's actually had some level of success. I believe this was his second year. The first year they had a winning, pretty decent year. He had a rookie quarterback this year. They didn't have a great year, but the quarterback did great. They're showing some promise. I was really confused by that firing because I don't think he's done a bad job. So I didn't really
I think they won
understand.
the last 4 or 5 games.
Right. So I really
Yeah,
didn't
that's
understand.
what I'm saying. When we go back to what do we want, we just want equality.
Yeah.
We just want to be given the same opportunities to succeed or fail, or to watch this as a black person recover from failure. You know, we blacks don't get a chance to often recover from their mistakes.
Mhm.
You know, and it's the subtle things, and people, people, oh well, no, we're not given the same opportunities. Because even when we are given the opportunities, especially in the sports world, African Americans are given the opportunities and they get the worst jobs. The worst jobs.
And I think he should definitely get the opportunity to be head coach. If not, we'll gladly take him as a coordinator down here in Miami.
The worst jobs. When Obama became president, miraculously, he got the worst economy almost in the history of the United States of America. We're always hired or brought in to clean up the mess. And once we get it straightened out a little bit, then if we start to mess it up, you gone. And I just wanted to kind of not end the show with that, but just to point out the fact of we still got a long way to go in this country. And now I'm not one to say that, hey, as a black person, God has blessed me. I'm doing well. My family's doing well. I'm not being blatantly hindered by the systems of America, but I know that I'm an outlier. So I'm aware of the things that go on in this country. And I want to say to all African Americans who don't feel like you have to be a part of this conversation because you may have reached a level of success, please understand that we still all have to go into that glass ceiling and understand this is still how they look at us and treat us. It may be so, as Brandon said, if you read fast, you will miss it. But you got parted ways and then you got fired. And that's too blatant for me.
We're talking
Well,
about sports and coaching for herself. Well, what's interesting too is that another black coach who's been like one of the hottest coordinators over the last few years, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. He has been like the last few years, obviously because of the success of the Chiefs, he's getting a lot of that. Like this guy to be a coaching candidate. Like he's had a lot of success with Mahomes, and he actually interviewed for the Jets job today, and he's a candidate for a few other of the jobs. But what was interesting is that now that the talk about him getting a head coaching position has gotten hot, some reports started to surface over the last few days of some stuff he had in his past, like I believe it's like a minor arrest or something in college or something that kind of was trying to smear his name. And I'm like, you never hear about anything just popping up like a pass or anything when it's a white head coach or when it's somebody white that's trying to get a position. Why is it that after all these years this guy's been in the league, after all these years of this guy's name being called about being one of the best offensive coordinators in the league, now that he's getting the opportunity possibly to be a head coach, now here comes reports about stuff that happened 20 and 30 years ago. So it's little things like that you see that it's like, there's still.
You mean like bringing up old clips of Raphael Warnock stuff he preached about 20 years? You mean like? Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kimberly.
Nothing.
But so guys, that's our show for tonight. We're gonna see. Hopefully, we have no more breaking and entering, no more B&Es. We have, God, R.I.P. to the lady who died today. Some on this show suggest, and maybe rightfully so, like they say to us, she put herself in that position. I don't even know how she got shot or who fired the shot. I don't even know if that's been said. Was it an inside? I don't know, but
They ain't worried about it. They gonna
But
have that one Capitol Hill police that's black. They gonna say it was his bullet. Watch. The one that came to work today. That's gonna be his punishment for showing up.
you
Watch.
know, she's you know, she's gone. So that's our show for tonight, guys. Go ahead, make sure you continue to like this. Father is next week. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about the inauguration that's coming up. How's that going to happen? And all that good stuff. And hopefully, all this silly stuff will be behind us. And we'll be just a couple of days away of being able to say the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And we'll be welcoming in a new president 2 Wednesdays from today. So we'll see. Closing remarks, everybody.
Pray.
Kimberly was disgusted by today's events today, so she has allowed her level to disgust to temper her excitement today for the show. So
That's good. Y'all got lucky.
My closing remark is, I probably lost a lot of friends over the last year, but y'all know that don't bother me at all. A lot of the people on the Trump side that I may or may not know were very vocal during the Black Lives Matter protest and how disgusted they were, and what they thought about the people that were protesting. Interestingly enough, they were very silent today. So I'm really interested. I'm gonna be asking some questions to some people I know, just to know their thoughts on what happened today, and see if they even closely resemble what they had to say when it was a Black Lives Matter protest. So those are my closing remarks.
anybody else?
Well, because of all of this happening in Washington, be safe, because just because it's in one state don't mean it won't happen here. So I say be safe, everyone. Make sure you wear your mask, and see you next week.
Oh yeah, don't
All right,
forget the
guys.
mask. Please wear your mask.
Yeah, I did notice nobody had on masks today during the Capitol break-in. But anyway.
And they're saying it's another strand out there that supposedly target younger people. Remember the first time it was the older people, so now they're trying to get them vaccinated. They're saying that the new strand is targeting more younger people. So who knows if this stuff is true? It could be, could not be, but we do know wear your mask. Try to
Wear
protect
your
yourself.
mask.
Wash your hands.
It's like double up.
Well,
if
I'm
you feel
old,
like
so I
you
think I'm getting old, so I don't know where I fall in, what strand I fall.
Hey, when you
I wanted to
said
bring
it,
up the tweet from Brandon, but I didn't get a chance to, about how we will respond, if Biden lost versus Trump. But it didn't age too well, But anyway, that's our time, guys. We love you guys. We will see you next week. That's right, Evangelist Anderson. Pray, pray, pray. That's what we gotta do. Pray, pray, pray. That lady was praying in the Capitol. If you saw
she
that
sure
clip,
was. That's
she
it.
was she was calling. She was calling on Jehovah,
Where the
whomever.
African
Man.
angels you need. Where are those African angels when you need them?
Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh God!
Good
I
night.
think. Good
Bye,
night.
everyone.
Bye.